Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020 as we're continuing on the road to Starrcade 2004, and we're live from the New York Times Union Center in beautiful Albany, New York, in front of a 17,000 people crowd. And we start out actually with a basically video, an angle as we see Sean O'Hare entering a biker bar. And he's dressed in a leather jacket, jeans, all that good stuff. But if there's some murmuring as everybody can sort of like recognize who he is. And eventually, gets people, why the hell are you up? Why are you here? And O'Hare walks up to the bar, asks for a shot, asks for a beer. He gets it. The bartender basically, asks him why the hell he's here, and O'Hare says, "I'm here to get some information. I want to know why the hell Palumbo did what he did. I just want to know before I beat his ass." And the bartender's like, "Look, that's none of my business. And honestly, you need to get out of here before you get in trouble." And says that this, and O'Hare just sort of like laughs and says, "Well, if there's going to be a trouble, it's going to be trouble for some other people." Then we see two guys come up, and obviously they're like jobbers, local jobbers paid, and they start sort of messing with O'Hare, and O'Hare just wrecks them. He just throws one across the table, hits one little headbutt into the bar and tosses him away. And O'Hare calls out to the crowd, "If anybody else wants to fight, that's fine. But I'm looking here to fight. I'm looking here to get some damn information. If there any information about Palumbo, we can talk. Otherwise, he'll end up just like these two." And then, O'Hare takes a pull of his beer, and then, we see a female voice from offstage saying, "You want to know about Chuck? I can talk to you about Chuck." O'Hare look and say, "Fine, let's find somewhere to talk." And that opens things up as this gets in 96 and is like a little fun little storyline as we continue forward as we go on to the opening of the actual show, where we get graphics of a big tag team main event tonight of Rob Van Dam and AJ Styles versus Eddie Guerrero and Shane Helms in a big tag showdown of two people who will be meeting two big matches at Starrcade 2004. That gets 69 as we go to our opening match, which is the big 2-on-3 handicap match for Ray Jr. to earn a U.S. title shot, and in that match, which gets a 74. Not bad. In a decent match, Tajiri and Ray Jr. defeat the Rolling Legion of Toro, Romeo, Lavernus, and Swinger Pompanias in 737. One Ray Jr. pinned Toro with a springboard hurricanrana, and this gets a 74. So here's the thing, is I could have had the fun little thing where Ray Jr. goes over one of the members of the tag team, but I figured this would be a strong way to actually set up the match. Or, back and forth match. Obviously, it's a big 3-on-2 advantage, but Tajiri gets some big kicks in. Ray Jr. does his high flying around. Eventually, Tajiri wipes out one of the members of the Roman Legion with the mist, and then kicks the other one. It's Toro and Ray. Toro goes for his big roaring elbow. Ray gets out of the way, hits the 619, hits the splash, then hits the springboard hurricanrana for the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory and officially earn the title shot at Starrcade. I said officially, so yeah. We'll go ahead and throw that match in there. So we'll pre-book it, and there we go. And yeah, Ray Jr. gets a 92, Tajiri gets a 78, Swinger gets a 49, Romeo gets a 43, and Toro gets a 73 as well. And post-match, of course, Ray Jr. and Tajiri celebrate to the cheers of the crowd as Ray Jr. makes belt motions, and the media announcers put over, this is another big match that will now be part of Starrcade. Then we have a quick promo where Gail Kim is backstage, and she says, "A lot of people have asked me why I want to get involved in the title match at Starrcade. Here's the reason. It's pretty simple. I have wanted to prove myself against the best, and the best are now here in WCW. After years of the Women WrestleMania joke, we're finally getting some respect. But the respect is coming because we got these big stars here now. But the reality is I'm still the head bitch in charge of this division. So if Trisha, Joni, you want to really prove you're the best women wrestlers in the business, you're going to have to beat me. But at the end of the day, you're just going to eat some defeat, and I will be the World Women's Champion once again." So decent little promo to put over, the world title match as this gets a 77. And we have, Yang in the ring as music hits, and out comes Ikuta Hitaka making his WCW debut. So there we go. Cap changes. Great gimmick. It's fun stuff. As gets 25 because it's a guy who's basically unknown. But in the actual match, which unfortunately gets a 28, but sort of what I expected because these guys aren't super over, but still gotta get new people as part of the division. And it bout had non-existent crowd heat. Hideka defeats Yang in 441 by pinfall. Just reading. Hideka is basically like a kick base, like lots of kicks. Not quite MMA style, but really sort of that. But like lots of couple, but he just like gets the clean win after about 4 minutes of back and forth action and advances into the cruiserweight ignition match at Starrcade as this gets a 28. Yang got a 49. Hidaka got a 42, which isn't bad for somebody who basically has no overness in the US, so solid stuff. And post-match, he celebrates to a 36. So again, not terrible, but not, again, I sort of expected it to be something like that, but hey, oh well, not the end of the world. Then we go backstage where Jeremy Borash is like basically standing in front of a closed door as he basically reports that Eric Bischoff and Teddy Long are negotiating about what the WCW draft beginning in January will entail, and some other things about what will change with two GMs now in charge of both shows. And he like sort of opens the door and we hear like Bischoff saying, "No, I can't do that. We need that on Nitro." Teddy Long like says, "You gotta give and you gotta get, brother, because I'm not gonna let you take everything for Nitro and leave nothing for Revolution." And Bischoff says, "Look, we gotta come to an agreement about this. We can't split everything up. We can't have everything run around wildly. We have to make some decisions." And before we see Bischoff see Jerry Wheeler, he says, "Borash, shut that door." So looks like there's some negotiations about what exactly will be part of Nitro and what will be part of Revolution after the split, as this gets a 68. Fun stuff. And then we go backstage, or we're back to the bar where Sean Harris sitting down with a female friend of Raven Rain, who's being played by George Giovanni, Diva Search contestant, and was available in the area, so why not? As she tells Sean, look, he was set on Palumbo the moment he showed up. He told him whatever he wanted to hear, and he saw her as her ticket to success and out of this place. Like, she doesn't even really care about Palumbo's career. She just cares about getting in front of an audience where she can be a star. And Sean's like, well, why didn't you go with her? Because I want to be a real man. And she like sort of like tries to flirt with Sean, and Sean's like, look, I'm not here to find an old lady. I'm not here to find a woman. I'm here to find about Palumbo. So tell me about Palumbo, and that's it. And Joyce stands up and is like, fine. Maybe I'll just tell Chuck that you were here, and we'll see what happens then. And I just shrugs as she walks away. As this gets at 37, because I actually rated Joy, which probably wasn't my best idea, but gotta sort of figure this out sometimes. And we move forward to a backstage promo, which gets a friggin' 100, because of course it does. As we see Eddie and Helms backstage, of course, with Cash and Reno, also getting rid of the match. And Helms is talking to Eddie. It's funny, it's Starrcade this time around. I'm in the main event, and you're stuck with a pump kid. And Eddie's like, remember, I could take that title off of you just like that. And maybe once I'm done with Styles, I'll just do that. As if you're even the champion. I was like, maybe not. But tonight, we got together to take apart RVD and Styles. After all, they both want to take our spots eventually. Hell, RVD took your spot, and that's why you'd come to our side of the track. And he's like, no, Holmes, I find and followed Guerrero family values. But I say, RVD thought he deserved to be at the top dog. And yeah, he tried to take me out. Remember, he failed. I was the champion while he failed after all. Over and over. But tonight, Holmes, just follow me, and we'll get some looks in before Starrcade. And I was like, hey, that's fine with me as long as you remember who's the champ right now. And he just sort of sneers as he walks away. But this gets 100, and yeah. Again, heels don't like each other. And then we have a tag team match as the entrance put over as after basically allying together, WWE officials want them to sort of like team together to show themselves off. As in a decent match, Keenan Sharp and Ray LePen defeated Paul London and Dean Malenko in 608 when Keenan Sharp pinned Dean Malenko with a tank turret. So, tank turret? That's not. I must have accidentally given him that finisher as well. Okay. Forget, pinned him after, like, back and forth match, but eventually Sharp and Le Pen do some nasty heel tactics to gain the advantage, and, like, London's on the outside after doing an attempted dive that goes badly, and Sharp just kicks the hell out of Malenko and gets the pin on him. As this gets a 70, Ray Le Pen only gets a 52, but he's getting there. King Sharp gets a 77, London gets an 85, Dean Malenko gets a 63. But this is interesting. Poland and Dean Malenko actually showed excellent chemistry together. So that might be something to look forward to for the new year as we're trying to figure out new things to do. But yeah, that's just something interesting to look at. But anyway, this gets a 70, solid stuff. But of course, post-match, as the heels are celebrating, their big win over, honestly, a former U.S. champion and, a former TV champion and a guy who's been very successful in WCW. Out come first Brother Ray to a pop, and then out comes Sandman to another pop, along with his Seymour Kane to start brawling with Sharp and Le Pen, and after a moment, Tank Toland comes in to try to help out his brethren, but he also gets beat down with Seymour Kane as the fans pop, as, basically heels finally scatter as Brother Ray and Sandman go to eat each of the turnbuckles, Sandman raises Seymour Kane, Brother Ray raises his hand to a big pop from the crowd, as it seems like the Extreme have gotten a little bit of revenge over Sharp, Le Pen, and Toland tonight, as this gets a 68. Fun stuff. And then, fun stuff. Okay, so then we get in the Graveyard of Souls as Sting and Flair basically show up when there's nobody there. And Sting sort of jokes, no guards this time. I guess Vamp paid for the real security. And Flair says, look, this is just smoke, some scary lights, and some doom tones you can see that you got carved with our names. What happens in that ring is a real deal, brother. So you can claim to talk whatever master you follow in our 2 weeks in Philadelphia. You gotta walk that aisle with those tag belts. And then you're gonna be in the ring with the man and the franchise at WCW. That's gonna be real. This is a playground. That ring is the school of hard knocks. And you can be scary, you can fly around, eventually you're gonna have to fight. And we got more world titles than we can count. Tell him, Sting. Marsar, Messias, you put me through hell. Now it's time for me to return the favor. Time for spooky tricks and Coda misses are over. It's time for a fight. And Sting and at Starrcade, it's showtime. So Sting and Flair are sort of like making this real, quote unquote. But hey, Deadpool aren't going to like them, basically implying that this is all, fun and games. So let's see how they respond as this gets a 91. And we basically come back from that to a promo with the former three women who the announcers refer to as now claim themselves as Captivation. AKA, I finally came up with a name for this trio of women. I've just called this trio of women for like the last 6 months in game. And Lizzie starts off by saying, as we are Captivation, because look at us. We're the actual foundation and stars of this division. 2 former world champion, and me, the one responsible for the most highly viewed women's match in history. And we do this without appealing to drooling morons out there, and with actually having some charisma. Because even if you despise us, even if you hate us, even if you throw insults at us, we're still captivating to you. And Lexi steps in and says, I fought this so much as she points at Angel, till she realized these geeks would never truly support her. They gave Lizzie to truly lead us down the right road to domination. And after we're done with the bright-eyed boneheads, after the rest of the women's division that has never had to face Fury. And then Angel steps in and says, I'm a 21st century Fox is going to lead women's wrestling in the future by looking this good and being that good in the ring. No matter how much the crowd hates it, they'll still be captivated with that. So decent little promo, finally setting up as an actual stable. And this gets to 59. Not terrible, honestly, because again, building them up is only a bit short. And then we have our sort of tag team turmoil preview as about that great wrestling and good heat. Silver City Rollers defeated the Hart Legacy and Awesome Storm in 10-3 when Reno pinned Teddy Hart with a roll of dice. So this is just a mess. This is just 6 guys just hitting spots all over, going crazy. Reno does his power spots, so does Awesome. Storm hits some super kicks. Teddy Hart and Jack Evans do their high-flying wackiness. Cash does his bully weight stuff. But eventually, Reno has the advantage. Has Teddy Hart in the middle of the ring, hits a roll of the dice as everybody else is fighting, and gets a pinfall victory here after 10 minutes, and a big victory for Silver City Rollers as they head into the tag team, the tag team turmoil match. as Reno gets a 76, Cash gets an 81, Chuck Evans has a friggin' 89, Taylor gets an 80, Mike Awesome gets an 87, Lance Strong gets a 79, but Soldier Rollers have a bit of advantage going into the gauntlet match in a few weeks at Starrcade. And that gets saves an overall in post-match, so these City Rollers celebrate to a 71. And then we go backstage where we see Bischoff and Teddy are still negotiating, but this time we don't hear it, we just see video of it as Teddy's standing up. Bischoff's, yelling back at him. Before Boris opens, or who we think is the cameraman, or might be Boris opening the door again, as Teddy says, "No, I'm not going to give you both divisions. We need to split them up evenly." Bischoff says, "So what? You want a title all to yourself? No, I'll give you a title to yourself, and you have a title too." And Bischoff says, "Well, let me think about it." And this gets an 82, as these two are still negotiating the future of WCW and will be on both shows as once the split happens after the new year. And then we go to RVD and AJ Styles backstage as AJ Styles starts off and says, "Eddie, I had respect from you. I looked up to you. I thought you were one of the best wrestlers in the world. I thought you could teach me and other young guys in this business a lot. Well, the only thing you've taught me the past few weeks is I've already learned from more from other men in the business who you think are below you. At Starrcade, you may think you're going to have a walk in the park, but think again, brother, because you're going to get into ring with the future of WCW, and it just might be a Styles clash for you." And then Robin follows up and says, "Good job, man. But here's the thing, Eddie. I didn't take your spot. I earned it. You walked away after Noble upset you. I can have you fighting and wrestling, man. You had a spot in this business the day you were born. Well, I had to crawl and bleed for everybody's success, writing shows in front of a dozen people in the middle of nowhere, Michigan, and now main event in Starrcade. But Helms, don't worry, I'm not forgetting about you either, man. Time is ticking on your brain. So keep that belt close to you because RVD is going to be Mr. Starrcade in Philadelphia, and there's nothing you can do about that." 89, good little promo, as AJ actually does well here as we're moving things forward. As we have a match where Monty Brown basically kills Blitzkrieg in a little over a minute with the pounce. SS gets a 70, Monty Brown gets an 84, Blitzkrieg gets a 44, as Monty Brown just gets to look strong in the week leading up to his big match at Starrcade. As then Monty Brown takes the mic and says, "That, what you just saw was a preview of what's going to happen to Goldberg. You're not the man anymore. I'm the man here. Not anybody, nobody in this business can stand up to me because I'm Monty Brown, the most devastating force in professional wrestling. And you just need to get out of my way where you feel the bounce." So fun little promo from Bounty, putting over the big match between him and Goldberg at Starrcade. And then I believe, we have our main event, which gets an 85. Let's see here. Anything in particular that hurt this? Low morale for RVD. AJ was fatigued. Okay, I mean, nothing terrible. And AJ's gimmick getting stale, which I'll fix here in a second. But anyway, and about the Super Wrestling, Great Heat, RVD and Styles defeats Eddie and Shane Helms in 1720. Oh, shoot. I got that backwards. Okay. It should be Shane pinning RVD using underhand tactics. I mean, I don't care. Honestly, the underhand tactics would be RVD finally gets upset and nails Helms with the Van Damianator right in the middle of the ring. And the refs, sort of distracted by Eddie and AJ fighting. So RVD is able to drill him and get the 1-2-3 victory over Shane Helms. And a big victory a few weeks before Starrcade. This gets an 85, AJ Styles gets an 85, RVD gets an 89, Helms gets an 86, and Eddie Guerrero gets a 92. So, honestly, looking at this for 6, 7, so 4, 5, 7, 12 divided by 4, 3. So, lost 3 points basically because of the bats. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, really good match, really good finisher. Really good match. And of course, the show ends as Eddie and AJ fight to the back for being broken up by WCW officials. What happens, of course, is Cash and Reno come down for a 3-man beatdown as Helms goes after RVD. RVD is fighting him off, but in comes Cash and Reno. Cash and Reno, of course, do their best. I mean, RVD does his best to fight back, but it's 3-on-1. As then Helms drills him with a super kick, and the beatdown is on as Helms puts the belt right to his face and says, "This is never going to be yours. I'm the best of all time. I'm going to prove it at Starrcade. And then Alex Wright and Chavo Guerrero come down to make the save, but they also get beat down because it's still 3-on-2, even though they still fight up. As the heels stand tall to end the show, as the fans boo, as this gets a 93. And overall, the show itself gets a 89. So fun stuff. And see if there's any interesting news. Survey says loading. Alrighty, let's see here. Ric Flair seems to be clicked, but okay, that's interesting. I mean, you're not wrong, but I still need to get some Easter out of Awesome. Yeah, I expected this to happen. So here's the thing, folks. I determined because sort of realistically, like Blitzkrieg didn't last, like was already out of the business in real life by 2000, and he's not really getting over that. I was just going to let him go and see what happens. But since he's unhappy, bye. Your last thing is being dropped off to Monty Brown. Fun stuff. Anyway, just looking over some interesting stuff. Okay, and let's see what Raw did real quick. Okay, Raw had Vampiro defeating Dixon's Warren Squash, Scott Steiner, DAP and Hall defeated Venus, Dudley, and Benjamin in an 81. Kurt Angle defeated Cody Hawk in a squash. Billy Gunn defeated Brainward by Q. Okay. Brock Lesnar defeated Christian, and Shawn Michaels and Edge defeated Triple H and Chris Jericho. Fun stuff. 90, so they only beat us by a point. But I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. Okay, and welcome everybody back to Revolution live from New Jersey in front of a little over 16,000 people. And we start out with basically R. Van Dam stalking Cash and Reno backstage, about to go after them, when Teddy Long basically steps in front of him and says, "Look, man, I know what you want to do, but I'm in charge here. I'm not going to let this be a war zone. Brother, you're going to get your title shot, and tonight you got a contract signed. But you can't mess this up. Okay?" And I was like, and really looking over at Cash and Reno, who are still like sort of involved in their own stuff. And I was like, you keep them out of the contract signing so they can't jump me again, and I'll be on your wavelength, brother. But after that, it's all off. And Teddy's like, hey, do what you want on Monday. That's not my show. And Van Dam smiles and says, you got a deal, and walks away. As this gets an 84 to start the show, as we move on, and we start with a big, hype for the main event, which is going to be Kanyon teaming up with Alex Wright and Chavo Guerrero to take on the Triumvirate of Kidman, Mike Awesome, and Lance Storm. As the announcers all put over, the officials have officially announced that it's going to be Willie Kidman versus Kanyon at Starrcade. As this gets 74, as we go to the ring, where Matt Sydal makes his debut here in WCW as part of the qualifying matches for the Cruiserweight Ignition match. Then the actual match, he faces off against Taka Michioku, and Taka basically beats him about 5 minutes. High flying match, just lots of spots, but Taka's the veteran here, and a little more, of the guy. And Sydal gets his spots in, but Taka gets the advantage and hits it with the Michioku driver and gets a pinfall victory in a little over 5 minutes. This gets a 35, Taka gets a 58, and Matt Sydal gets a 28. Regardless, fun stuff to open up Revolution. And Taka then celebrates the cheers of the crowd, which gets a 44. Not the best opening, but again, got to build up that Cruiserweight division. Then go backstage where Jeremy Borash is with Jordan Lawler, and he asked Joni about Gail Kim's comments, and Joni says, "Here's the reality of things, Borash, and Gail, you listen up. When I got here, I didn't wrestle because it was beneath me. Yeah, there's all you guys running around wrestling and thinking you were the stars of the show, when I was getting bigger reactions than your whole entire matches just by being here. But when I decided that it was time for the next evolution of women's wrestling, I destroyed you all over and over again. So yeah, you want to fight me? Fine. At Starrcade, I'm happy to beat you up. I'm happy to take one of you out, two of you out, three of you out, however many women you want to throw at me. I'll still have this belt because I am women's wrestling in in this company and in this country. So if you're really looking to take that belt off me, try your best, but you'll fall all the same. 77, solid promo as we continue to build up the triple threat match at Starrcade. And then we go backstage where the Triumvirate are, and, Kidman's backstage, and he, is in his element saying, Kanyon, you cajoled WCW officials into giving your ass another shot at me. When I could be resting at Starrcade, ready to call my shot at whenever, then I have to deal with you again. No matter, because as the Mayhem Tournament winner, I'll prove my greatness once again. And tonight, it's just a preview of what's going to happen to you at Starrcade, along with the former King Extreme, and, where's Lance? And Lance, could have been awesome look around for a minute before, Awesome sort of short and says, I don't know, I thought he was with you. And April and Lance come in, and, Lance says, Lance looks frazzled as April looks confused as he says, look, I'll explain later, but I'm ready for the match. I'm ready to take out anybody. And Kim's like, hey, that's all I want from you. Ready to make people tap out like the best. And Storm nods and walks away along with April. And he looks over at Kidman and Awesome again, and Kidman just again shrugs as this gets to 71. And this has a point. I'm just doing a little bit of a backstage angle, but this goes forward. As we have our tag team match, as in a decent match, Lexi Dumas and Lexi James defeats 99 Hart and Sling Cartier in 656 when Lexi James pins 99 Hart with the Lexi DT after Angel Fox comes in, distracts 99 Hart, allows Lexi to take over, and hits the Lexi DT for the pinfall victory. Decent match as this gets a 68. Sling Cartier gets a 64, 99 Hart gets a 41, Lexi James gets a 55 rather, and Lexi Jones gets a 70. Decent stuff as the heels get a little bit of advantage, and post-match there's just a big old brawl involving all the women, including Jordan Cole coming out to help baby faces, getting the advantage and fight everybody off as the crowd pops, and announcers put over there have to be a fun result of this fight, of this rising tensions between these two groups, as this gets a 46. Not the best, but I actually rated them on fighting because why not? And there we go. And then we have a quick segment where Lance Storm and April Hunter are talking backstage as the camera sneaks behind them, and he says, and Lance is like, April, look, get these women from following me. I don't know what they saw at that party, but I'm done with that. I got a wife, April. And April is like, hey, it's not my fault they saw what you have, Lance. Embrace it. And Lance says, I'm married. I don't want those women hanging over me. I'm ready to wrestle, so wrestling is what I do. And April, sort of shrugs and walks away as Lance looks exasperated. No, we're not quite doing the Lance Storm has a big dick angle from real life WWE, but it's fun to put Lance in a situation that he's not used to. Anyway, this gets 70, which actually is shockingly good. And then we have our match. As an about had great heat and good wrestling, Booker T defeats Mark Jindrak in 950 by pinfall with Book-On. So this fight being heel versus heel, this actually does decently well. I guess mostly because Booker's really over, and so is Mark Jindrak. Mark Jindrak's seasonally over, and the storyline's doing well. So back and forth match, Booker doesn't, both teams, guys cheat a bit, but with Charmel, and the rest of the Chosen Few at ringside, there's not much going on. They sort of, down at each other, balance each other out. And in the end, Mark Jindrak does his best to fight off. He hits some of the big hard moves, but Booker T fights back. And eventually, Spin-a-Rooney, axe kick, bookend, clean victory right in the middle of the ring. As, I said, this gets a 74. Booker T gets a 84. Mark Jindrak gets a 74. Again, that's also a guy that's probably has been, undercut by people using him, but he's still decently over. And then we move forward as Booker, Booker's getting up, and the rest of the Chosen Few get in the ring. First Jarrett gets in the ring as Mark Jindrak slides out. As he, does a little clap, and Jarrett says, Booker, that was impressive, I gotta tell you. And look, man, I know we didn't get off. We had a little bit of a problem there at Mayhem, and I'm sorry about that. I went off the handle, I went too far, and I'm sorry. But hey, we beat Jindrak right there, clean in the ring, so we're good to go. But what I want to do is now invite you to be one of my Chosen Few. And Booker just sort of stares at me, and Booker's like, I'm a six-time world champion, and I already got somebody to back me up as he points to Charmel. So why would I be part of your Chosen Few? And be your lackey, Jarrett. And Jarrett's like, the reality is, your wife doesn't know what's best for you. And I wish I could explain that to you, but you weren't going to listen. So last thought nuts, and then in come the other two members of the Chosen Few, someone Johnny Vine, Martin Fine, and they beat down Booker. Charmel tries to stop them, but she gets pushed away as Jarrett comes in, and the 3-on beatdown is on for a couple minutes until referees and officials come down to break it up. And this gets an 86, and yeah. Jarrett wanted Booker T to be his, basically part of his Chosen Few, but Booker T refused, and here we are. And then we're back at the bar, where we are on Nitro in the past couple weeks, as Palumbo's basically everybody's partying, everybody's happy, it's a biker bar, as Palumbo steps on the bar and says, as you know, we're all true brothers here, unlike my scum-sucking former partner. But when members of the family mess up, they have to pay a price. And he, mentions, and Joy comes out to the bar, looking sort of, uncomfortable. Now, Joy told Tails out of school. Oh, I saw a note, Raven's, of course, standing right beside Chuck, smirking and happy to be with her man. Joy told Tails out of school, and more importantly, didn't tell the whole truth. So to pay back all of us for telling stories, she's going to be given free lap dances all night long. And Joy looks at Palumbo and says, really? And Chuck says, yes. And Raven, smirks over at Joy as they share a look, and then Joy walks away to do her job for the night as Chuck gets down and walks off with Raven. And Raven whispers in Chuck's ear, and then they both actually walk out the bar. And yeah, not the best angle as far as 2022 eyes, but that would totally happen in 2004, so there we go. 78 decent stuff. And then, in a short match, Bill Goldberg kills Disco Inferno, who, yes, is still on the roster because he's Eric Bischoff's friends, in 1 minute with Jackhammer. This is just Goldberg killing somebody. This gets a 70. There we go. Nothing special. Goldberg gets a 93. Disco Inferno gets a 39. Fun stuff. And then Goldberg takes the mic, gets an 87, because of course he does. And he basically says, Monty. There's a lot more to being the man than just beating people. It's winning match after match all over this country. Actually getting the support of the fans, and them wanting you to rise to the top. Not thinking you should be at the top from day one just because you've beaten a few people. So at Starrcade, I'm going to give you a lesson in respect. And actually proving yourself to be at the top of this business. Because, Monty, I'm the man. I always will be. And at Starrcade, you're next. 87, really good promo as we move forward. As there's a quick promo with Jonathan Toro where, Borash is trying to get something from Toro, and Toro's like, look, I am the leader of the Roman Empire. I'm the U.S. Knights champion. I've beaten Ray Jr. before, and you think just because the Starrcade is going to matter? No. Ray Jr. can do whatever he wants, can try whatever he wants, but at the end of Starrcade, he'll continue to be what he already is, a loser. 72, decent promo from Toro, building that up. And then, not the best match. I mean, I guess I forgot that storyline, didn't I? I totally did. Oh well. Well, we had Sean O'Haire versus Davey Noble here, as this is just basically a match to put over O'Haire. Noble gets his shots in, and he doesn't look terrible. But this is basically not quite an extended squash, as Noble gets a big O'Haire is going for his big clothesline, but Noble gets out of the way, and Noble just works on his knee and legs for the next several minutes, keeping him down on the mat. After he put over, everybody's the same size on the mat, keeping knee locks, leg locks, knees to his legs, Indian deathlock. But eventually O'Haire fights back, hits more power moves, hits Ebony Sable, of course, tries to interfere, but O'Haire nails him with a big boot, sending him off the ring apron to the floor. That allows Noble to get one last flurry of heel offense in, but O'Haire reverses it. Power slam, lariat, Widowmaker, clean pinfall victory right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. As this gets 74, gets an 82, Noble gets 79. So not quite as good as I wanted. I should have added storyline, but oh well, shit happened. What can you do? But then in the post match, so what we see is like first, like Ebony Sable tries to run in and like tries to take out O'Hare, but he gets like big like, and this is just a way to let O'Hare like show off as he just nails Ebony Sable with a lariat, picks him up, big slam, throws him to the outside. Noble tries for attack at the last second. He also gets thrown to the outside, but that gives Chip Colombo just enough time to come in from the crowd, nail O'Hare from behind, throw him, like send him to the outside, throw him to the ringside steps, and then hit the oh god, I'm forgetting the name. Full throttle on the outside, on the floor, and stand above O'Hare as the fans boo. As the ushers put over, these former friends have become natural born enemies very quickly, as this gets a 95. And then Booker is backstage, like getting a little help from officials on Carmel's side, and he says, like, and Jerry Rush walks up and he says, "Poor Ash, did you see that? Jeff Jarrett, sucker, you think you can walk over me like that and get away with it? No, no, no. Get rid of your flunkies and meet me in the ring man to man, and I'll kick your ass from one side of the ring together. So if you're not going to be a bitch-ass mofo, stand like a man and fight me, Jeffrey." So it looks like Booker T finally wants a fight with Jeff Jarrett, as this gets a 78. But hey, they're both still heels so far. And then we have our main event as in a superb match, the Triumvirate of Kidman, Lance Storm, and Mike Awesome defeats Kanyon and Ray and Chavo in 1343 when Awesome pins Chavo Guerrero with an awesome bomb. As this gets an 88, Chavo gets an 80, Alex Wright gets a 74, Kanyon gets a 93, Awesome gets an 88, Lance Storm gets an 80, and Kidman gets an 81. So fun match, like, Awesome hits his power spots, Ray and Chavo do some tag team stuff with Storm and Awesome. Storm does some technical stuff probably with Wright. Kanyon does his cannon cutters and some other big moves. Kidman does a seal shtick. Eventually, the match breaks down. Awesome is able to grab Chavo Guerrero, and in a big victory for Awesome and Storm before the tag team gauntlet at Starrcade, he pins one half of the former tag team champions and gets the big win for the Triumvirate. And this gets an 88. Like I said, solid match, like nothing too special, but just a big match to put over the matches before the pay-per-view. But as the bell rings, Kidman is heading up to the ringside area, and as he's at the top of the ramp, he like raises his arms, but out of nowhere, boom, cannon cutter, as Kidman has been laid out once again. As this gets an 86, as this feud has to continue. And then to end the show, we have our main event segment, as we have a contract signing, which gets a 99. Again, this would be great if Helms was actually did not have a pop cap, but he's still doing well. And so, Borash is with both men. He first, gives the mic to RVD, and he says, I've been in this place before. I've challenged and failed. I know this. I've already brought it up, so let's move faster. But what's more important is I learned from it. And man, I know better. That's more importantly, I'm not facing Booker for that title. I'm facing you, Shane. I've already beat. I know I can defeat, and more importantly, a man who deep down knows he got lucky. That belt is on borrowed time, man. Just a minute, brother. Helm says, this is BS that a great man like me has to put up with all this all the time. U.S. champion, cruiserweight champion, legend killer, and finally a world champion, and still a refugee from the barbed wire, so you can't admit that I'm a world champion to be proud of. Remember, Van Dam, when you're a nightmare on Home Street, who put you there? RB Jekyll says, Helms, it's not about respect. You have all the talent in the world. The secret is, you're just an asshole. Nobody likes you. Your bodyguard disappeared. Your tag team barely wants to hang around you. And hell, the chicken group is Cash's, not yours. Imagine if all the ladies were hanging on Barry Windham instead of Ric Flair. How'd that look? Ooh, pop. But that doesn't matter. You have your own dynamics to worry about. Man, in over a week in Philadelphia, with the most extreme crowd in Starrcade history, I will become world champion. And you can whine and complain and call bias and everything else. The reality is, I'm Mr. Pay-Per-View. I'm going to be Mr. Starrcade. And at Starrcade, CHAMPION will be spelled RVD, as he points to himself. And I've heard all of it before, Van Dam. Yet I'm here, and you're here sitting where you are. I'm taking advantage of all my situations because I have to. I wasn't wine denied. Well, maybe not wine, but you get my drift. Let's say you were living high on the hog on WCW's dime as they tried to sign you. Well, they barely cared I existed. I made them care, and after I kick their golden boy's teeth down the throat, they'll accept this is my company now. And RVD says, if you can do it, Let's go, man. I'll take that belt right up the hell off you right now. Helms also stands up and is ready for a fight. Boris steps between them. But then as Boris walks away, Helms goes to hit a super kick, but RVD is ready and ducks it, and then there's a standoff as officials fill the ring, keeping those two away from each other a week before Starrcade. Like I said, this gets a 99, and overall the show itself gets a 90. Fun stuff. So let's see what this does. And survey says you're not wrong. Okay. So looking at storylines, the tag team's up to an 84. Beautiful Violence is at a 64. The tag mess is at a 76. Oh, I'm just going to end this storyline. There we go. Choosing Violence, which is the hardcore storylines, at a 69. GM's at a 76. Crown Against the Chosen is at a 77. Bruiser Stuff's at a 45. Joint Syndrome's at a 56. Masked Empire's at a 76. Meaty Men's at a 92. Mr. Starrcade's at a 93. Natural Born Enemies at an 87. Next Man Up's at an 88. And Styles Grows at an 85. So then if we look at the rest of the world, first WWE also had SmackDown, and we had a Big Show squash. DVP, Raven, and Steiner defeated Steven Richards and Bub and Grind, which is like Valvinus and Rikishi. We have Imperial defeat Christian by DQ in a 90. Undertaker beat Billy Gunn in 92. Kurt Angle defeated Randy Orton in 96. And Triple H and Brock defeated Edwin Michaels in 100. Just another random 100, but they only got an 87, so there you go. Let's see, what did our Dev Feds do? NWA Wildside had a TV show. Tony Jones and Claudio defeated Trevor Rhodes and Stone Mountain in 57. Marcus Meltek defeated Matt Morgan in a 51. We had Cole, Raven Tomko defeated Shane Balor, Ortiz, and Daz in a 61. Kai Graves, who's a regen, defeated Chance Prophet in a 60. And yeah. And Pearson lost to Jason Cross and Kishin Kawabata, who I assume is the NWA champion of some sort because he was here. And then for the weekly house show, we had Double C and Lashley defeated Siaki and Rainman in a 52. Kai Graves, Ortiz, and Daz won a 6-man. Tom Zuma Howard defeated Tony Jones, Chance Prophet, and Jimmy Rave to retain the NWA North American title. Let's see here. Jason Cross defeated Travis Tomko in a cage match in a 68. And yeah, that's about what I care about. And then for our women's fed, Mischief defeated ODP in a 41. Ariel and the non-gay partners defeated Alice Nature and Mega Women by DQ. Becky Bayless defeated Beth Phoenix. And Anti-Authority, which is Desire and Lacey, defeated Melina Osaka and Vanessa Harding in a 63. And the main event, Anti-Social defeated Shirley and Melissa, and I guess what was a non-title match. Then if we go to HWA, let's see here, did I show you guys? No, okay, so first they had Skin and Ivan defeat Sabor Tomaselli, Corey Castle defeated Dana Rodimer, Russ Haas defeated Jimmy Jacobs at 41, BJ Whitmer, Ricky Shane Page, and Andy Davis defeated Logan Kane, Alex Shelley, and Barry Bradburn in 50. That's sure, like a 0.3 war style tag match. Ekmo Fatu and Excalibur defeated Joel Grund and Rocky Romero. Capital and Sharkboy defeated Cyber Squad, and Chuck Taylor defeated Scott Vick, and Matt Striker defeated Ray Steele. And then in their big show of the month, we had Corey Castle and Jimmy Jacobs defeat John Cena and Salvatore Thomas Sully. And Cena was almost the best in the ring. Logan Kane defeated Jorge Estrada. Sure. Excalibur defeated Daniel Rodimer. Sure. Let's see here. Chuck Taylor defeated BJ Whitmer in a future ROH showdown. And yeah, nothing really much of note. So then if we go over to OVW, Nashville defeated Evelyn Chambers, who was getting up to decent stuff despite being regen. Nancy Prager defeats Steve Bradley. Joey Matthews and Charlie Haas, her last team defeated the A Squad. Rico Constantino and Bolt Buchanan defeated Daniel Pewter and Maven. Okay. Lizzie Borden defeated Riptide, and just defeated Rob Conway to retain the OVW Heavyweight Champion, and Helm had Samantha retain the tag titles. And then the other OVW match, we had Chantel Tiller defeated Christy Ricky for the OVW title. Danny Doran defeats Steve Bradley by DQ. And Maven and Joey Matt just won a tag match, and just defeated Rico Constantino again. So there we go. Like, nothing too exciting. Oh, and Gaia had a big show. So I'll show you guys the big stuff. Miyako Satomura defeated Mayumi Amazuma Ozaki in a 63. Hiro Ito defeated Momo Nakanishi in a 71. Naomi Toyo defeated Kudo in a 77, because of course it was. And Hakura Fukuoka defeated Toshi Iramiotsu to retain the Triple AW title, which is their big belt, in a 74. So fun show there. Nothing really much of note. Yeah. All Japan had their World Strongest Finals, which unfortunately I forgot to set back to a tag match. So even though it's a tag belt, it was a singles tournament. Oh well, shit happens. Okay, World Titles Tag League was all sorts of weird tag teams. So there. I think that's about it to show you guys. Yeah. Again, to go over the pay-per-view, got officially set. We got AJ versus Eddie, the triple threat match for the women's title, Kanyon versus Kidman, Monty versus Goldberg, Ray versus Toro, O'Hare versus Palumbo, Helm versus Van Dam, Sting and Flair versus Morningstar Macias. And of course, we also have the tag team gauntlet match, which won't be in here like as an official match because, you know, it's not a real match. It's a series of matches, and of course, the Cruiserweight Ignition match, along with other stuff that might happen. But, you know, that's it for now. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give a like, comment below what you're liking and not liking, and subscribe to the channel for TEW 2020 content. As I'm sure some of you guys seen, I did begin a New Japan in 2004 to sort of stock Nobio's and its tracks save, so I'll be hopefully having some fun with that. But, you know, otherwise, go ahead and I hope everybody enjoyed this, you know. But that's it for now, so talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.